A wild dog terrorized an entire valley. Then, a blind man did the impossible. They called him Ghost, and one man saw what others couldn't. Montana Territory, 1884. The valley lived in fear. A wild dog roamed the hills. Large, fierce, part wolf maybe, part something else. Gray and white coat, yellow eyes, scars covering his body. The ranchers called him Ghost because he appeared without warning, disappeared like smoke. He killed livestock, chickens first, then sheep, then calves, always at night, always alone, always successful. The valley posted a bounty, $50, dead or alive. Hunters tried, trackers tried, all failed. Ghost was too smart, too fast, too wild. He'd survived alone for years, maybe his whole life. Nobody knew where he came from. Nobody could catch him. Fear turned to anger. Anger turned to hate. The valley wanted Ghost dead, needed him dead, before he killed again, before the losses mounted higher. But one man disagreed. Thomas, the blind homesteader. Thomas lived alone. Small cabin, 10 acres, edge of the valley. Nobody bothered him much. Felt sorry for him mostly. Blind man trying to farm, trying to survive. Impossible task. But Thomas managed, had for 5 years, since the accident took his sight. He knew his land. Every rock, every tree, every path. Moved confidently, worked independently. Needed no help, no pity. The valley respected that. Left him alone. Thomas heard about Ghost, about the killings, the fear, the bounty. It bothered him. Not the killings. Animals died. That was nature. What bothered him was the hate, the assumption that Ghost was evil, needed killing. Maybe he's just hungry, Thomas said to his neighbor, William. Maybe he never learned to hunt proper game. William scoffed. He's a killer, wild, dangerous, needs to be put down. Or maybe he needs something else, something nobody's tried. What, training? You can't train a wild dog, especially one that's killed. Thomas smiled, quiet, knowing. Maybe, maybe not. The attacks continued. Ghost hit another ranch, killed 3 chickens. Left tracks, clear, deliberate, like he wasn't even trying to hide anymore. The valley organized, 20 men, rifles, dogs. They'd track Ghost, corner him, end this. Thomas heard the plans, offered a different idea. Give me 30 days, let me try. The men laughed. You? You're blind. How are you going to catch what we can't? I'm not trying to catch him. I'm trying to reach him. Reach him? He's a wild animal. So were all our dogs once, before someone gave them a chance. William shook his head. Thomas, this is foolish. That dog's dangerous. Give me 30 days. If I fail, you hunt him. My way costs nothing. Yours might cost lives. The valley considered. Thomas was well liked, respected despite his blindness, and 30 days wouldn't matter much. Ghost would still be there. Fine, 30 days, but if he kills again, we don't wait. Thomas nodded, accepted the terms. Thomas prepared carefully. Not with traps, not with weapons, with food. He cooked meat, venison, rabbit, left it at the edge of his property, near the woods, where Ghost's tracks appeared. First night, nothing. The food remained untouched. Second night, Same. Third night, the food was gone. Thomas smiled. Progress. He continued. Every night, fresh meat, same spot. Never trying to see Ghost, never trying to catch him. Just offering, providing, no strings, no tricks. After a week, something changed. Thomas felt a presence, standing at the edge of his property, watching, waiting. He couldn't see it, but he knew. Ghost was there. "I know you're there," Thomas said quietly. "I can hear you breathing, feel you watching." Silence. "I'm not here to hurt you, not here to catch you. Just here to offer food, company maybe, if you want it." More silence. Then the sound of retreat, paws on dirt, fading into darkness. But Thomas smiled. Ghost had listened, hadn't attacked. That was progress. 2 weeks passed. The meat disappeared every night, but Ghost never approached, stayed at the wood's edge, watching, wary. Thomas didn't push, just continued the routine. Food, quiet words, patience. The valley grew impatient. "Thomas, 2 weeks, nothing's changed. He's still wild." "He's eating, he's listening. That's change." "He killed again last night, took a lamb from Henderson's place." Thomas's heart sank. He'd hoped, believed, but Ghost was still hunting, still killing. "Give me the rest of the 30 days, please." The valley reluctantly agreed, but the mood shifted, anger returning. Thomas intensified his efforts, started leaving food twice daily, morning and evening. Started sitting outside, near the food, making himself vulnerable, showing trust. Days passed. Ghost watched, always from the shadows, always distant, never approaching. Thomas wondered if this was working, if anything could reach a creature that wild, that damaged, that alone for so long. Day 23 brought change. Thomas sat outside, evening, leaving the food as usual. He heard movement, closer than before, much closer. His hand instinctively moved toward his walking stick. Stopped. No. Show no fear, no threat. "Hello, Ghost. Coming closer today?" The movement stopped. Thomas could hear breathing, 10 feet away, maybe less. Close enough to be dangerous, close enough to attack. Thomas stayed still, calm. "I won't hurt you. You know that by now, don't you?" A low growl, warning, but not aggressive, more uncertain. "You've been alone a long time. I understand that. I'm alone too. Different reasons, but I understand." Silence. The breathing continued. Closer. 5 feet now. Thomas could smell him. Wild, unwashed, afraid. "Take the food. It's for you, like always." Sounds of eating. Cautious, quick, ready to bolt, but eating. Thomas didn't move, didn't speak again, just sat, letting Ghost eat, building trust through patience. Day 30 arrived. The deadline. Thomas's last chance. The valley gathered, ready to hunt if Thomas failed. William approached the cabin, found Thomas sitting outside, and beside him, Ghost. Not running, not hiding, sitting. Still wary, still distant, but there. William stopped, stunned. "Thomas, that's Ghost. Yes. Sit down, slowly. Don't make sudden moves." William approached carefully, sat beside Thomas. Ghost watched, tense, ready to flee. "How did you?" "Patience, food, no threats, no tricks, just time." "But he's still wild. Look at him. He's terrified." "Of you, of people. Because people hurt him. You can see the scars.
Somebody beat him, probably tried to make him mean, make him fight. He escaped, became what they tried to create. William looked closer. The scars were old, deliberate, not from nature, from humans. They made him this way. Yes, and now someone needs to unmake it. Help him learn trust again. Learn that not all humans hurt. William was quiet. The valley won't wait longer. They want him dead. Then tell them what you see. A damaged dog, not a monster. One that's learning to trust again, learning to be gentle. William looked at Ghost, at the fear in those yellow eyes, at the tension in that scarred body. I'll tell them, but Thomas, if he kills again, he won't. He hasn't killed in a week, since he started eating here regularly. He was just hungry, desperate. Now he's not. Now he's learning there's another way. William looked at Ghost, at the fear in those yellow eyes, at the tension in that scarred body. I'll tell them, but Thomas, if he kills again, he won't. He hasn't killed in a week, since he started eating here regularly. He was just hungry, desperate. Now he's not. Now he's learning there's another way. The valley came to see. 20 men, curious, skeptical, angry. They stood at Thomas's property line, watching. Ghost saw them, bolted into the cabin, hid. Thomas stood, faced the crowd. He's afraid. You need to understand that. He's not vicious. He's terrified. He killed our livestock, someone shouted. Because he was starving. Nobody taught him to hunt proper game. He took what was easy, what he could catch. That's no excuse. It's not an excuse. It's an explanation. There's a difference. William stepped forward. I've seen him, up close, the scars. Somebody tortured this dog, made him mean, made him fight. He's a victim, too. The crowd murmured, uncertain now. So what do you want? The ranch foreman asked. More time. Let me continue working with him, teaching him. He's already stopped killing. 1 week, no attacks. 1 week proves nothing. Then give me more. 2 months. Let me show you he can change. The crowd debated, argued, finally agreed. 2 months. But if Ghost killed again, the deal was off. Thomas accepted, knew the stakes, knew what failure meant. The training began properly. Not like normal dog training. Thomas couldn't use visual cues, couldn't demonstrate, had to rely on voice, touch, patience. Ghost was smart, understood quickly, but trust came slowly, very slowly. Thomas started simple, sitting near Ghost, talking, letting the dog hear his voice, learn his patterns, understand he was safe. No sudden movements, no aggression, just presence. After a week, Ghost allowed touch, brief, tentative. Thomas's hand on his head, just for a moment. Then Ghost pulled away. But progress, real progress. Thomas introduced commands, simple words. Sit, stay, come. Ghost understood, responded. Not consistently, not reliably, but responding, learning. The wild dog was becoming something else, something between wild and domestic. 2 weeks passed. Ghost stayed closer to the cabin, followed Thomas around the property, still wary of others, still quick to hide, but bonding, forming attachment. Thomas could feel it, the trust building, the fear fading, slowly, painfully slowly, but happening. Month 1 ended. The valley checked in. Ghost was visible, working with Thomas, helping him navigate, alerting him to obstacles, becoming useful. The men saw the change, couldn't deny it.
He's different, William admitted. Calmer, but still dangerous? Not to me. Not to anyone who approaches slowly, respectfully. What about livestock? He hasn't touched any. I feed him well, teach him to avoid farms, to stay on my property. The valley grudgingly accepted, gave more time, but watched carefully. Any sign of aggression, any attack, and Ghost was dead. Thomas understood, worked harder. Ghost needed to be perfect, needed to prove himself, no mistakes allowed. One night, a test came. Henderson's sheep got loose, wandered onto Thomas's property. Ghost saw them. Thomas felt him tense. No, Ghost, leave them. Ghost whined, conflicted. Instinct said chase, hunt, kill. Training said obey, trust. Leave them, good boy, leave them. Ghost sat, trembling, fighting every instinct, but sat, didn't chase. Thomas rewarded him, praised him, reinforced the choice. Henderson collected his sheep, unharmed. He looked at Thomas, at Ghost. He could have killed them. But he didn't. He chose not to. That's what matters. Month 2 brought new challenges. Thomas needed to prove Ghost was safe, fully safe, around everyone, not just him. William volunteered, brave, trusting Thomas's judgment. He approached slowly. Ghost watched, tense, growling low. "It's all right," Thomas said. "William's a friend. He won't hurt you." William extended his hand, slow, non-threatening. Ghost sniffed, wary, uncertain. "Good boy, Ghost, good." Ghost allowed the touch, brief, then stepped back, but didn't attack, didn't flee. Progress. Over the following weeks, others came, one at a time, always slow, always respectful. Ghost's circle of trust expanded, slowly, carefully, but expanding. The valley saw it. The wild dog was becoming domesticated, learning to trust, learning to live among people. But some remain skeptical. He's still part wolf. That wildness is in him. It'll come out eventually. Thomas disagreed. We all have wildness in us. What matters is choice. Ghost chooses to be gentle, chooses to trust. That's stronger than any breeding. The final test came unexpectedly. A child wandered onto Thomas's property. Young girl, maybe 6, lost, scared, crying. Ghost found her first. Thomas heard the commotion. His heart stopped. This was it. The moment everything could end. He moved quickly, carefully, following sounds. Found them. Ghost sitting beside the crying girl. Not threatening, not aggressive, protective. The dog had positioned himself between the girl and the woods, guarding her. The girl's father arrived, running, panicked, saw Ghost, raised his rifle. "No!" Thomas shouted. "Don't shoot! That's the wild dog! Get away from my daughter!" Look at him, really look. He's protecting her, not threatening her. The father looked, saw the truth. Ghost wasn't attacking, wasn't menacing, was sitting calmly, keeping the girl safe. The father lowered his rifle, approached slowly, took his daughter. Ghost watched, let them go, made no move to stop them. The father looked at Thomas, at Ghost. "I was wrong. We were all wrong." Not wrong, just didn't understand. Ghost was made wild, but he's learning to be gentle again. Today proved it. Word spread. The wild dog protected a child, changed everything. The valley's attitude shifted. Fear became curiosity. Hate became respect. People wanted to meet Ghost, see him, understand him. Thomas allowed it, carefully, controlled.
Ghost's confidence grew with each peaceful interaction, each gentle moment. The wild dog faded. A working dog emerged. Not fully domestic, never would be, too much time alone, too many scars, but civilized, gentle, trustworthy. The valley voted, unanimous, remove the bounty. Ghost was welcome, protected even, no longer a threat, a success story, proof that patience and understanding could overcome anything. Thomas felt vindicated, proud, not of himself, of Ghost. The dog had done the real work, had made the real choice, to trust again, to change, to become better than what humans had made him.
Ghost became Thomas's constant companion, his eyes, his guardian. The dog learned to guide Thomas safely, alert him to dangers, help him navigate. They were a team, blind man and former wild dog, both damaged, both surviving, both thriving together. The valley saw them often, walking the property, working the land. Ghost calm, confident, happy even. Some dogs were born gentle. Ghost had to become gentle, had to choose it, fight for it, earn it. That made his transformation more powerful, more meaningful. Young boys asked Thomas, "How did you do it? How did you tame a wild dog?" "I didn't tame him. I gave him a choice, showed him a different way. He did the rest. Ghost saved himself. I just provided the opportunity." The valley learned from it, about patience, about understanding, about not judging too quickly, about seeing potential instead of just problems. Ghost taught them that. A wild dog, scarred, damaged, terrifying, became the valley's greatest teacher. All because one blind man saw what others couldn't, saw past the wildness, past the fear, past the scars, saw the dog underneath, the one that wanted to trust, wanted to belong, wanted to be loved, and that made all the difference. Years passed. Ghost aged with grace. The wildness never fully left his eyes, but the fear did. The aggression did. He remained alert, watchful, but gentle. Thomas's farm prospered with Ghost's help. The dog learned to herd, to guard, to assist, better than many domestic dogs. His wild intelligence, his survival instincts, all channeled into useful work. The valley forgot he'd ever been dangerous. Children played with him, carefully, respectfully. Ghost allowed it, tolerated attention he'd once fled from. But he remained Thomas's dog, first, always. Their bond was special, unique, built on mutual need, mutual trust. Other blind homesteaders heard the story, came seeking advice. How do you train a dog to guide when you can't see? Thomas smiled. You don't need eyes to train. You need patience, consistency, trust. Ghost taught me that. Some brought their own dogs, hoping Thomas could help. He did when he could, but emphasized, every dog is different. What worked for Ghost might not work for yours. You have to find your own way, your own connection. A young man arrived one spring. Name was Daniel, from the next valley over. "Mr. Thomas, I heard about Ghost, about what you did." "I didn't do much. Ghost did the work. I have a dog, wild one, caught in a trap, injured, mean. The sheriff wants to shoot him, says he's too dangerous." Thomas listened, heard the desperation, the hope. "Bring him here. Let me meet him." Daniel returned next day, with a dog in a cage, smaller than Ghost had been, but just as scarred, just as terrified.
Thomas approached slowly, listened, smelled, felt the energy. He's afraid, in pain, not mean, just hurting. Can you help him? I can try, but it's not me that helps. It's time, patience, willingness to understand. You have to do the work. I can only guide. Daniel agreed, desperate. Thomas began teaching. His methods, his approach. How to read a dog without seeing. How to build trust through consistency. How to heal trauma with patience. Daniel learned, worked hard. His dog, named Ranger, responded slowly, like Ghost had. Progress measured in days, weeks, not hours.
3 months later, Ranger walked calmly beside Daniel. Still nervous, still scarred, but gentle, trusting. Daniel cried, thanked Thomas repeatedly. You saved him, saved us both. You saved him. You did the work. I just showed you the path. Will you teach others? There are more dogs like this. Thomas considered. He was getting older. Ghost too. Maybe this was their purpose now. Teaching. Helping others understand. Bring them, one at a time. I'll teach what I can. Word spread. The blind man who rehabilitated wild dogs. They came. Some succeeded, some failed. Thomas was honest. Not every dog can be saved, but every attempt matters. Ghost watched. Older, grayer, slower, but still helping. Young dogs learned from him. He became living proof that change was possible. Winter, 1891. 7 years after Thomas found Ghost. The dog was slowing significantly. Arthritis, old wounds aching. Thomas felt the change. He'd known this day would come. Ghost still worked, but shorter days, more rest. Thomas adjusted, asked less, provided comfort. One morning, early spring, Ghost didn't wake, passed peacefully, beside Thomas's bed, where he'd slept 7 years. Thomas knew immediately. The stillness. He sat beside Ghost, hand on the dog's side. Just peace. Thomas didn't cry, not at first. Just remembered. Grateful. They buried Ghost on the hill, overlooking Thomas's farm. The valley came. 20 people, more, paying respects. William spoke. Ghost taught us about fear, about understanding, about second chances. Thomas showed us another way. Ghost proved it worked. Thomas spoke last. Ghost was my eyes, my guardian, my teacher. He taught me that damage doesn't define us, that anyone can change, given time, given patience, given love. I was blind before I lost my sight. Ghost helped me see what others couldn't. His lesson remains. Look deeper, see further, understand better. That's Ghost's legacy. Years later, Thomas still trained dogs. Ghost's grave remained tended. Flowers, fresh. The valley never forgot. Story passed down. The wild dog that became gentle. The blind man who saw clearly. His headstone read, Ghost, 1877-1891. Once wild, forever gentle. He taught us to see. Thomas visited often, talked to his old friend. Another dog came yesterday, scarred, reminds me of you. I think we can help him. The wind answered, gentle, peaceful. Sometimes visitors asked, do you miss seeing? Thomas would smile. I see more now than I ever did with eyes. Ghost taught me that, to see with my heart, to understand with patience. That's better than any sight. The wild dog became legend, but more importantly, he became hope. Proof that anyone could change. Everyone deserved a chance. Ghost's story, his eternal lesson. And the valley never forgot.